Hello everyone, it's Dio from Firm Fair Gaming, bringing you another World of Warcraft video.
Welcome everybody to another video in our weekly Mythic Plus series, bringing you the affixes for the coming week and going through them. So this next week, starting November 2nd, it's going to be a fortified week. So the trash is going to have 20% more health and inflict up to 30% more damage. Additionally, it is raging, so the trash, when they're going through rage at 30% health, dealing another 25% increased damage until defeated. So basically, it's like a double trash week. But we can get away with from the raging by using D and rage effects, so Soothe from Druids, Trank from Hunters, and I believe it's Shiv from Rogues. I've never actually played a Rogue, and I should know that, but I forget. But anyway. And then additionally, it's explosive, so while in combat, enemies are periodically going to summon an explosive orb that will detonate if it is not destroyed. So these are little orbs that just appear through randomly in places, and they are just one-shotable, so you can just tab to them, and basically any ability is going to one-shot them. Instant casts are going to be phenomenal here, so like Moonfire from Druids, Heroic Throw from Warriors, Judgments from Paladins, that sort of stuff. You just tab to it. Those quick range attacks are going to be phenomenal. You do want to make sure those go down. Any of those that go off could wipe mid-pull because the damage can be quite substantial, especially on the higher keys. Taking a look at the tanks, basically it's going to hurt when you get near the end of the pull. Because it's fortified, trash is going to hit a bit harder, and the raging effect is going to make that much worse, especially if you are not running with the D rage, and even if you are, there is a CD, so on the bigger pulls you may have multiple enraged mobs at the same time, so you may need to kite if you run out of CDs, because the damage might be a little bit more substantial than what you're used to at the end of a pull. For the explosives, do what you can if you have the instant cast, like if you have those judgments, heroic throws, and all that stuff. Tab target, try to keep your DPSing, so if you can help out with grabbing as many explosives as you can, that is the way to go. So basically, when you're setting up the group, if you are the one setting it up, you want to make sure that you communicate to those in your party that have the D rages. Just remind them that they can do that when the trash gets lower than 30% this week. Sometimes people just forget, especially near the start of the week, what buttons they need to push and what the different affixes is. So just remind those who can de-enrage to de-enrage, and you will be better off for it. Communication is always good, so don't be afraid to just remind people, but be polite about it. For DPS, we're going to have a little bit more responsibility this week due to the explosives as well as the raging, especially if you have the D rage. So press that button, basically, like, well, not basically, at 30% or less, or at 30%, the mobs are going to enrage. You're going to want to use that on CD to de-enrage any mob that you possibly can. It's going to be cost you a little bit of DPS because you're going to be using so many GCDs in order to de-enrage as often as possible. But it'll be, in the long run, better for you, as your tank will not get pounded and pounded and pounded, and it'll make your life easier for the healer as well. And then moving on to explosives, basically tab targeting is going to be your friend. Just as soon as they jump up, usually range has a little bit easier time prioritizing the explosive, especially if they are a little bit away. So kind of just discuss with your group what you want to do for that approach. Generally speaking, range has the easier time depending on what the range is. Warlocks don't exactly have the easiest time with explosives. Sometimes, depending on the mage, they may not as well. But just do what you can. If it's right near melee, obviously, if you're melee DPS, quickly jump on it and get rid of it. Make sure that during the larger pulls, you got to keep your eye open for those explosives. There's a couple areas, like when you're going through Ardenweld in the other side, just keep in mind, like if you're doing a bigger pull, there may be a ton of explosives that pop up. Same within Halls of Atonement in the last chamber there, before the final boss. If you decide to pull that whole room at once, there may be several that pop up all at once. So you will want to just keep your eye open. If any of those are about to go off and you're not going to get to it, just make sure to use a personal to make sure that you survive through the explosion. So basically, tab target, display, destroy explosives, and de-enrage if you got it on CD. So that basically takes us through the roles that we're going to want to do. So basically, it's pretty simple. We just want to de-enrage on CD. Healers, be ready to spread the love. And then everybody else, just make sure you get explosives if you can get it. Prioritize or talk to the group beforehand and maybe discuss who's going to be focused on what. If it's melee based, because usually there's only like maybe 2 that get it at the same time. So if you specify who's going to be prioritizing doing the explosives and who's on backup, if there happens to be like several that pop at once, then it'll focus the group a little bit more and you'll get more DPS out of the group as a whole. In the group that I usually run, the tank and healer, if possible, are the main ones that do it, and then I am the backup if there gets to be more than 3 that pop up, unless it's immediately in melee range, and then I let them know that I will get it if it's like if I only have to take 2 steps to get it, not to worry about it, then I will get it. So if you have that kind of setup and communication with the group before you pull, it just makes things a lot easier. And then also if you do have a de-enrager who is in the group, you may not want them to be on the explosives at the same time if the group is getting low, just because it'll take them away from what they need to do. Might cost them a GCD running over to get an explosive or moving over, as well as actually casting on it. And then you'll be better off yourself to just get the explosive yourself. Anyway, that's enough about that. Today is a big day. It is 9.15. It is finally here. Lots of people are going to be excited about that. I'm excited about that. If you have the Renown, we're going to have the free Covenant swap, which is going to be phenomenal. No more looking for groups. Oh, we need a Necro or we need this or that. We can just plug any holes that we want by ourselves. It's going to be great. The quality of life changes that are coming. I could ramble on about that. Everybody else, you've probably already heard about it, read about it. It's finally here. We're all excited about it. So I'm just going to end there. If you have any questions or comments, please let us know below. Good luck on your vaults today. Hope you get the items that you're looking for. We appreciate any likes and subscribes. Have a good one, everybody. Enjoy the week. It should be a decent week, I think, especially with all the uncapped AoE changes that are coming from 9.15 and the free Covenant swaps. It's going to be a fun, interesting week. Have a good one, everybody.